Hello and welcome back to another review with me, Kevin, from Kevin Grant on Whisky. This week's another re-review, something that I've reviewed previously. A bottle I think is always good to do with any whisky that you can go through from a neck pour to the kind of the start of the bottle to the mid to the end. This has maybe a dram left in it. I've had this bottle for a couple of years. It's an easy to reach to bottle, it's easy to get, it's a whisky that's always out there. It's a Bunnahabhain 12-year-old, an Islay single malt. It's very lightly peated to unpeated. You do not really recognise peat within it. And the standard 12-year-old non-chill filtered natural colour, 46.3% ABV. As you can see, I've kitted myself out. I've got my Bunnahabhain Warehouse 9 glass. I've got my Bunnahabhain for Shield t-shirt from last year as well. So I'm going all out Bunnahabhain today. And I thought, why not? It's just as we start to reach into the start of the Shield of 2023, which starts on Friday the 26th of May, for the full week. And I thought, let's go back, find something that I've got from Islay, and we can get it stuck right in. So 12 years old, this is an ex-bourbon and sherry cask matured whisky. As I said, it's non-chill filtered natural colour. I don't know the timing of how long it's spent in each cask. I think it's going to be a longer time in sherry. The 12-year-old has been around for nearly 40 years, maybe just over 40 years. I think 1979 is when the 12-year-olds came out from Bunnahabhain. To stick in their core range for that long, I think is great. I don't know how much has changed from it. It would be good to try and see the taste from, say, a 12-year-old today and do maybe a 10-year difference to see how much these cask influences are there. Do they get better? Does the quality get better? Does it get worse? Is it a nice level ground in, say, the 90s or the early thousands? It'd be good to kind of find that out. So I'm going to keep my eyes out peeled for some of the older ones. But for now, I've got this and I've got 1 dram left of it. The 12-year-old did become hard to get at points in time because it was so widely available. Everyone wanted it. It was in supermarkets. You could pick it up no problem. So it was massive quantity going in. And I think for how good the liquid was, it was difficult for Bunnahabhain to stick with the demand. They couldn't produce as much as the demand was wanting. The age stock can only age on it per day. You know, they can't fast forward aging. And I think they had to bring it back. So they brought out the Struada, and I always say it wrong, but the one with the light blue label, it's very similar, but that's what you're getting in supermarkets now. It's a non-age statement. It's one they can kind of tweak a little bit more. So the 12-year-old is what you'll find maybe in some supermarkets. I think you get it in Waitrose in the UK, and you'll also get it in specialist shops. I find this a great dram. I have before. I've not had a dram of this for a little while now. I've not reached for it for a while. So I'm quite excited to see what we get from this. We're on Islay. I think they've just been taken over. Well, Distell, I think, has just been taken over, potentially by Heineken, or there was chat that Heineken were going to take over, and there's under a new company name, which I'll need to try and find out. It's something I know has been in the works, but I don't know if it's been confirmed yet. So at this time, I still think it's Distell, but I think Heineken were there to take over the whisky side of things, and Distell were going to stick with all the wine, because Distell is a massive company. It's not just whisky they do, it's predominantly wine from South Africa. So they could have changed by the time I've done this. I've just not been able to see yet, or I've not done enough research on it, so apologies on that, but I will try and find out. The colour of this is great. The only frustrating thing with the bottle is it's hard to see in the colour to know what colour the whisky is. But this has always been the Bunnahabhain 12-year-old in this that I remember. So let's get this on the nose. Let's get it back on the palate. Let's see what's changed. Is this going to get better to the bottom? Is there too much air in there now? It's going to really change. Say 46.3% ABV, natural colour, non-chill filtered, lovely colour to it. Let's see. The nose is still really good. It's still really prominent. It's quite slightly coastal, really deep. It's quite violet, Parma violet sweets. Dusting of, like, I would say dry berries and things. You know, when you get dry berries, it's like a dusting of that. It's a slightly drier note to it on the nose. It's not as juicy and forefront that you'd get from, you know, if you drank sherry on its own. Slight little bit of salt coast in there. Nutty. I always get a nutty note with Bunnahabhain, and that is still there. So it's nutty, Parma violet, dusting of dried fruits, like they've been dried out, and nuts. But it's still got a really good nose, even though it's been in the bottle for so long, it's been open and closed for so long, it's still got a cracking nose, and price point on this as well is bang on. Let's see if it's changed on the palate. Slange everyone. It's still really good. It's more of a kind of drier note coming through, the softest bit of spice. It's more fruity. That kind of Parma violet note isn't prominent on the palate. It stays nutty with the dryness. Slight still bit of kind of coastal. I don't know if that's a little bit of salt in there that I'm getting from it. I know there's no salt in the whiskey, but it's got that element of taste of just a tiny bit of coastal sea hit again. That kind of sea note stays there. It's still good. I feel that it isn't as punchy as it used to be. Maybe because I've not had it for so long, and when last I put the cork on, the air's just got in there, and that's it. It's just really settled it out that the whiskey can't fight back against it, right? And I think it's just got that little bit lighter. It's still good. It's more nutty than I remember, definitely on the palate now. And it's just got the softer dried fruit note to finish with it. It's still good whiskey. It's 40 to 45 pounds you can pick this up for. I think this is a staple that I'll always have, so this will be one that I will replenish. I will get another bottle of this, definitely, because I think it's a great, easy to reach for. You always get quality from it, and I think it's a cracking dram. Value for money, you're getting 12 years old, non-chill filtered, natural colour for say £40. I think that's really quality. Whiskey like this as well, coming to the Fishiel, I was able to try the releases that were going to be coming out for the Fishiel, or part of it from Bunnahabhain, when I done the warehouse tasting back in March with David Brody. He was phenomenal, an absolute one of the best tours I've ever had, or experiences on Isla, sitting in Warehouse 9 and just talking to Dave, and just being how much passion he has for that distillery. The new kind of visitor centre opened as well, and sitting having a dram, just looking out to the water, is a sensational experience. And I think even being there with a bog standard 12-year-old Bunnahabhain, just taking you back to the roots of what got me into Bunnahabhain in the first place as a 12-year-old, it's magic. This dram's really good. I don't add water to it. I don't think it needs it. I quite like it as the way it is. That 46.3% just hits it on the nose, and I really enjoy it. But this is one, I might just finish this today. I've got maybe a dram or half a dram in it, so I might just go back and finish it off, and it gives me an excuse to get another one. Creates space on my shelf, which I'm struggling with just now. But again, everyone, thanks for tuning in to the channel. Thanks for subscribing, all the new subscribers as well, and all my loyal ones that have been here since day one. Really appreciate it. I'm going to go and sit back, going to enjoy it. I'm going to be moping about the house in my Bunnahabhain gear with my wee Capita, and I'll maybe go and pour another 12-year-old and then see what else I can put in here. But again, I've been Kevin from Kevin Grant on Whisky. Join me next week. Let's talk whiskey. Slange.